who are interested in the topic of interest today. I welcome you to this press briefing by the National Human Rights Commission on the recent events that have been happening in the aviation industry. The Commission expresses grave concern over the viral videos and reports detailing the alleged inhuman and degrading treatment of a female passenger, Mrs. Comfort Emanson, in an incident involving Ibom air flight and subsequent actions by airport personnel. The National Human Rights Commission, in its apex capacity as Nigeria's human rights institution, condemns any violation of the dignity of a person and asserts that such actions have no place in a civilized society. The prohibition of torture, inhuman and degrading treatment is an absolute and non-derogable right, meaning that it cannot be suspended or limited under any circumstances. This fundamental principle is enshrined in both the national, regional, and international instruments. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the Convention Against Torture, and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights all unequivocally prohibit torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment. The National Human Rights Commission also hosts Nigeria's National Preventive Mechanism, which is established under the optional protocol to the Convention Against Torture. Similarly, the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended in Section 34, guarantees the right to human dignity, and it provides that every individual is entitled to respect for the dignity of his person, and accordingly, no person shall be subject to torture or to inhuman or degrading treatment. The Anti-Torture Act 2017 prohibits the following acts and designates them as torture, namely physical torture, systemic beatings, head bangings, punching, kicking, striking, mental or psychological torture, threatening a person with bodily harm, inflicting shame by stripping a person naked, parading him in a public place, causing unscheduled transfer of a person from one place to another, confinement in jails and prisons, amongst others. The National Human Rights Commission emphasizes that the protection against torture, inhuman and degrading treatment extends fully to all persons, including even criminal suspects. An individual's right to dignity and humane treatment remains intact, regardless of the suspicion of any crime, whatever them called. Notwithstanding the venue or nature and magnitude of the alleged offense they may have allegedly committed before law enforcement agencies. Based on the publicly circulated video via social media, the National Human Rights Commission notes with serious concern several actions that appear to constitute violations of Ms. Comfort Emanson's rights, which include the use of disproportionate physical force to restrain and/or remove the passenger from the aircraft in an inhumane and degrading manner, and the stripping and exposure of the passenger's intimate and private body parts, in our opinion, constitute a severe violation of her dignity and privacy. The subsequent recording and widespread dissemination of these compromising videos on social media platforms constitutes a secondary form of harm and further degrading treatment. These actions are a clear affront to human dignity and are not justified by any initial conduct of the passenger. Under the Constitution and relevant international instruments, there can be no justification for torture under any circumstances, especially by the law enforcement agencies. The National Human Rights Commission wishes to state that accountability for these violations is paramount under the laws of Nigeria, including Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution and the Anti-Torture Act. While this statement does not seek to accuse any specific individual or institution, it buttresses the need for all actors to be held responsible for their actions, including the original alleged malfeasance of the passenger. We note the recent decisions of the government and aviation authorities in taking decisive action and issuing amnesty on the alleged offenses involving the Ibom air incident and the recent one involving ValueJet Airline and Mr. Wasiu Ayinde Marshall. It is our respected view that all the human rights issues arising from both cases should be thoroughly addressed in the interest of rule of law and justice. These include the aforementioned infractions of the right to dignity of the human person and privacy, and right to life and safety of self and other passengers. These incidents also highlight the critical need for corporate bodies to uphold human rights. The UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights, as well as the National Action Plan for the Promotion of and Protection of Human Rights in Nigeria, outline a corporate responsibility to respect human rights. This means that private companies like Ibom Air or ValueJet Airline are obligated to ensure their operations, their staff, security and personnel acting on their behest do not cause or contribute to human rights abuses alone or in collaboration with other entities. This includes having proper protocols and training to handle difficult situations without resorting to inhuman and degrading treatment, whether on passengers or airline crew. De-escalation training for the airport personnel could have produced different results in both incidents. The National Human Rights Commission demands a swift and decisive response from all relevant agencies to address these human rights violations arising from these incidents in line with Nigeria's human rights obligation to prevent reoccurrence. In addition, the National Human Rights Commission is calling on the aviation authorities and Ministry of Aviation to immediately review and revise all protocols for managing unruly passengers to ensure full compliance with human rights standards, including the right to life and safety of self or other passengers or crew members, their dignity, fair hearing, freedom of movement, and freedom from torture, inhuman and degrading treatment, and all the other rights. The aviation authorities should further mandate a comprehensive human rights and de-escalation training for all airline and airport staff and enforce strict sanctions against any airline or security agency found to have violated human rights in this instance or in the course of their duties. There is also urgent need to educate and sensitize the citizens on necessary protocols and conduct during flight operations. The Commission also calls on the relevant prosecutorial and investigative authorities to ensure the swift prosecution of any individuals implicated in the alleged human rights violations for criminal responsibility under the Anti-Torture Act 2017. The Commission further pledges its support to victims on all sides in line with its mandate under Sections 5 and 6 of the NHRC Act 2010 and Section 5 of the Anti-Torture Act 2017. Furthermore, in line with Section 5 LMO and O of the NHRC Act, we have taken unprecedented steps today to issue an advisory to all authorities and persons exercising powers over the aviation industry on the right to dignity and protection against torture, inhuman and degrading treatment in aviation operations in Nigeria. This advisory has become necessary to protect passengers airline staff, and the general public from human rights violations in operations of the industry. The NHRC will continue to monitor the situation closely to ensure that the rights of Ms. Comfort Emerson, other passengers, airline staff, and crew members are protected, and that all those responsible are held accountable. This is not only in line with our natural mandate as National Human Rights Commission, but also as the National Preventive Mechanism and the Secretariat of the National Working Group on Business and Human Rights. We remain committed to our mandate of protecting and promoting the human rights of all Nigerians as well as all businesses in Nigeria.